I grew up in the Midwest, in North Dakota. It's going to make me cry.
So I grew up in the southern part of New Jersey. My first 5 years I spent on a farm.
It was just really a lot of fun.
There were two houses, my grandparents' house and then the house that we lived in, which was a converted garage.
The way I look at the world is as a designer.
I'm interested in drugs for mental disorders.
Everywhere I look, everything I do, I want to create it and redesign what I'm looking at it to make it better. So art was not part of the school curriculum, but outside of school I was always creating.
And basically led me onto the path where I am today.
I moved to New York City from Los Angeles, and I called up my parents and I said, I'm moving to New York. And my dad said, well, you know it's going to be difficult. And I said, yes, I know it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to move to New York City.
I knew I had a good chance, at least, of getting into Cornell, which was on the east side of Manhattan. And I did.
I walked out of Grand Central Station, and on the road they had drawn a body, and then they had roped off the crime scene. And that was my first entrance into New York City.
I was kind of dropped off by my parents. Had no idea where I was or who my roommates were, or, you know, it was the typical sort of thing.
I would sit and I would draw designs, and every day would look in a newspaper called Women's Wear Daily, and I would answer all the ads. Day after day I would do this. This woman named Debbie, who went to Smith, Debbie came by my dorm, my room one day and said, I'm going to church tomorrow. I found a church where I want to go. And she said, well, would you like to come with me? And
I still got lonely at times. I was still trying to, you know, find my place, if you will, in New York City and graduate school. And so I started to go to church.
And it was called Christ Church. It was at 60th Street and Park Avenue. And Debbie and I went to this church, and afterwards there was a young adults group that met.
But they had a young adults group, and I was a young adult.
So we went afterwards, and we met a group of people.
There are various things. There were various outings, you know, just things that young adults would be interested in. So we went to, I think we went to a
off Broadway play.
and it was awful. The play was awful. It was terrible. It was hard to, you know, be encouraging because the play was just so awful.
It's a very dismal play about the death of Marat, and Marat sits in a bathtub, and I mean, it's really depressing. And
afterwards we got something to eat, and we were sort of in a goofy mood because the play was so awful. And I don't remember much about who else was there, nor do I remember what food we ate or anything like that. But I do remember that there was flowers on the table.
And as we're sitting across the table from each other, he hands me the bouquet of flowers that was on the table.
They were flowers that were well past their prime. They looked pretty bad.
But what was funny about it is the flowers in the bouquet were all dead. I mean, we had this bouquet of dead flowers on our table.
I think it took her by surprise. She must have liked it. And I think...
You don't remember the facts?
I remember the important facts.
What were the facts?
Well, I remember her hand sitting on the table and me wanting to grab it. Everything was different after that date. Yes? Yes.
We walked around New York City till 2 in the morning and just dreaming and holding hands, and had just this wonderful, wonderful evening.
And the date was really significant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a very memorable first date. A life-changing sort of first date. And knew I wanted to have a second date.
Maybe a third.
Maybe a third.